here with author Lindsey Burke, and Lindsey always brings something sparkly. This is great, I love this project.
Thank you. And this one uses seed beads, and we're gonna be using a seed bead mix, but you can always change it out for crystals or any other beads that you love.
Yeah. Perfect.
So we're gonna build this bracelet here. It's built in 3 sections. We've got a wrapped cord area with leather and seed beads. We've got a length of chain, and then we've also got some beads just strung on some beading wire.
Okay.
And then it's fun because it ends with a little button.
And then you can add some flair and personality there too.
Yeah, there's tons of different buttons to choose from. So to start, we're gonna work with 2 feet of leather cord. And I'm gonna take some chain, and I like using this chain that has a nice big open links here. And you're gonna go ahead and slide the leather all the way down so that the chain is right in the middle here.
Okay.
And then you're gonna do an overhand knot.
And are you using 1/2 millimeter leather, or is
this is 1.5 millimeter.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little bit thicker.
But you pick the perfect chain to go with it. Sometimes that's a challenge.
Yeah, you don't want it to overpower. And then just tighten it down there. And then we're gonna build our beadwork right in between these 2 pieces of leather here. So I like to pin it down to a board or a clipboard. And so I'm just gonna use a little pin. I'm just gonna go right in here and pin that down. So then I have some tension to be able to pull on this here.
Looks good.
Yeah, and then I'm using some thread and a needle, beading thread. And I've doubled up my beading thread, and this is gonna give some durability to it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I've got a seed bead mix here, and I'm gonna actually do a random pattern similar to this one over here, but you can always do a pattern of stripes or color blocks like I've got in the examples. So to start, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick up 1 bead and slide it right underneath the 2 pieces of cord. And the bead's gonna sit right in between these 2 pieces. And then I'm gonna slide my thread through, giving myself a bit of a tail, probably about 4 inches. Come up over the cord, the leather, with the needle, and I'm going right through the bead again. So I'm going over the cord itself.
Okay.
Okay. And pulling that all the way through. And then I'm gonna actually go back through the back of the bead again, and this is going to help reinforce it.
So you really are creating a fabric of beads in between your leather cords.
Yes.
Nice.
Exactly. So coming back through one more time, and then over the cord and through the top of the bead again.
Okay.
And so this is kind of hugging it right in between. And then what I would do is tie a knot with my 2 ends between here. Get my ends that I started with, the tail, and what I have here. And I'm just gonna tie this.
Oh, okay.
In a knot here. So then I can cut and maybe add a little drop of glue, just jewelry glue that I have, to the knot just to secure it. The glue is not necessary, but I like it as a little added security.
Right. Little extra insurance.
Yeah. And I'm gonna cut this off right now because then it won't get in the way of us working. Okay, so then for my next row, the second row, I'm gonna pick up 2 beads, just a random order. Or like I said, if you want to do stripes or color blocks, it's up to your creativity.
Okay.
Go underneath the 2 pieces of cord here. Hold the 2 beads right in place. Slide the thread through. Come up over the cord and go through the top of those 2 beads. So you're not piercing that leather at all. And there you go.
Nice.
And then we're going to continue this on until you have about 6 3/4 length of beads.
Okay.
So let me move this over.
And that's for this particular bracelet that will have the pattern available. But people could also use the same technique to make bracelets of lots of different
Absolutely.
lengths.
And people do this with just the wrapped cord area, and they can make several wraps or a single wrap.
Right.
For sure. I just like this design, adding in a couple different new elements too. So to end it, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to bring it down to one bead again. So just picking up one bead, putting it between the two cords, and pulling it down again.
I like the random look because you don't have to plan out the pattern too.
Right.
You know, I guess if you were doing stripes or something, you'd want to make sure that you end on the same bead as you began, or however.
And I believe it worked out pretty well when I did the color blocks of doing almost exactly the same amount, which is
nice.
Great. So then I would do a knot here as well with the thread.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and show you, we're going to make the buttonhole for the end. And this is the fun part. So again, we're just going to add just an overhand knot at the end.
People love button closures, you know, there's a little bit of magic with buttons, I think.
Yeah, and the buttons are so cute. There's so many options. So to get the right size, I take my button and I hold onto it, just kind of looking to see how wide it is at the widest part. So just put my thumbnail here and then make another knot on this end.
Okay.
And you can leave it with just the one buttonhole, but you can always add another one just the same way.
Okay.
Pull it tight, and then you would snip it off. And I like to snip it off at like a little bit of an angle.
Me too.
Just add something extra. Not necessary, but a little something extra.
That's right.
Then to do the strung bead area, we're gonna go ahead and use the other part of this chain. And I've got some beading wire here. There it is. And I've got about a foot because I like to make sure that I don't run out.
Okay. And does it matter what diameter you use?
I like to use the 0.014 diameter. You can definitely go thicker if you feel it's necessary or if your beads are heavier, but because these are seed beads, just size 8 seed beads, they're not very heavy. Yeah. So to start, I'm going to take my crimp bead, thread it on the beading wire, and then go through this end of the chain and back through the crimp bead.
Nice.
I'm going to pull it down, cinch it enough where this chain still wiggles.
Okay.
And then with the crimping tool, the 2 notches here, we're going to use this back notch, put it in there, and give it a squeeze.
Nice and secure.
And then turn it on its side. Give it one more squeeze. And that's going to just fold it over on itself and make it nice and strong and secure. You can see it's not going to move anywhere. I'm going to cut off this little bit of wire here because we don't need that.
I know there's a little bit of controversy about that. I always cut mine off because I hate it when they work out like while you're wearing the piece. Yes.
I am a big proponent of cutting it off for
I'm glad we're on the same team.
And then all I'm going to do, because the beading wire is stiff enough, I don't need a needle or anything, and I can just start picking up my beads. And again, this random order is so fun because you really don't have to think about it. You don't have to count. You're just going to bead until you've got your length of wire. So we'd keep going with that.
I love this palette. It's really pretty.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I think we call it the summer fun mix.
Nice.
So here's one that I've finished beading the whole length here. And then to finish it off, I'm going to do it just the same as I did on the other side with my crimp bead. But this time I'm going to slide our button on. And again, coming back to the buttons and stuff, you can get them in all different finishes. This is gold plated, but you know, if you're more of a silver girl or your mix, you know, leans towards the coppers, you've got those options too.
Yeah, there are really so many to choose from. You would just, for this particular technique, you'd want to make sure you're using a button with a shank. But you could also make it work if the button had 2 holes, you would just have to run your beading wire through there.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I didn't think about looking for a button with the 2 holes. That's great. I always just go for the shank for this. And there you have it. And then just cut off that pesky end of the wire again that we both don't love. And that's it. Then when you wrap it around, you've got a beautiful piece that looks like you're almost wearing like 3 pieces of jewelry, but they all go together.
I love that. That's such a popular look right now, and it's so easy. You made it really easy, Lindsay. Let's take a look at these variations that you brought, because you have a lot of beautiful colorways here.
Thanks. I have one. This is kind of that sea feel, the sea foamy feel. This one is nice. It uses a different chain here, so it shows that you can use a different type of chain versus the curved chain here. You've got different options as long as that loop is big enough to get your leather in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, these are beautiful, and I'm so glad you came. Thank you so much, Lindsay.
Thank you.